Hello. Good morning. Afternoon. It's almost 2 o'clock. And I just said good morning. What does that tell you? What is that? What do you have? Huh? It's been a little bit of a lazy day today, but that's okay. I mean, 90 degrees outside, lazy inside, yes. Okay, so I don't know. Yes, I do. Okay, so when I worked at the sheriff's office, you have to understand, way back when, we didn't have, not everybody's fingerprints were on file. And everybody always wants to say, well, why didn't you just check their fingerprints? Well, guess what? That only works if you have fingerprints on file. So if you've never been fingerprinted before, then running your prints won't do any good. Don't get no idea to go out and break the law now that you know that. I mean, I think my driver's license has a weird version of my fingerprint on it because I had to roll my finger, and it's kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I'm on file anyway because I worked at the sheriff's office and we had to be fingerprinted. But yeah. Anyway, one of the ways how we would try to match people is by ears. Ears, yeah. Because you can get a prosthetic ear, but not many people go to such lengths to hide their ears, okay? And okay, so what started all this is I was scrolling around on YouTube looking for something to watch, and the video of Bob Joyce comes up, and some people believe that Bob Joyce is Elvis. Now, he does sound like him, a lot like him. I wouldn't say 100%, but he's pretty dang good. But then again, Elvis died 50 years ago, something like that. Plus, this man doesn't look as old as what Elvis would be, because I'm pretty sure Elvis is my dad's age, which is 90. Anyway, I don't know. I was trying to compare the side-by-side of Bob Joyce and Elvis, because I used to do this all the time at the sheriff's office, trying to see if Joe Blow over here used a false name, and he was actually John Smith. And they have you take a front-on picture, and then they take a side picture, and you can see the ear. You can see all the little canals and stuff. So I used to compare ears on people, and you can tell, like, whether you got a hangy ear or if your ear connects there, and all those little crevices in there are unique, and whether your ears stick out or they don't. Your ears are very unique. Did you not know that? Did you know that? I don't know. But I thought, man, if I could just see Elvis's ear and Bob Joyce's ear, I might could tell if it was him or not, even though I don't really believe it is. But to me, he doesn't have Elvis's lips, because Elvis kind of had like a pouty lower lip, and then he had that little cute little smile, that little turnip thing right there. And granted, Bob Joyce has a mustache and a beard, but he just doesn't, his lips are more like mine. Sorry, Bob, but you got flat lips like I do. We got flat lips. And Elvis had beefy lips. He had a little more beefy lips, and they kind of curled up right there on the side, even though he did like that all the time. Anyway, yeah, so then I was trying to find, my search history on my Google is so weird, but I was trying to find side images of Bob Joyce and Elvis so I could compare their ears. Now, I did find a side view of Elvis, because he was in the military and he had really short hair. And anyway, you can find plenty of pictures of Elvis's ear if you're an ear person. But Bob Joyce, his hair comes down and comes right over the top of his ear right there. So you can't see his ear canals, his ear holes in his little side views, but he does have a disconnected thingy thing right there that kind of hangs. But anyway, yeah, that's how I spend my time, just looking at people's ears. Not really, I don't do that much anymore, but I used to do it all the time at the sheriff's office, trying to match people and see if they's the same person. Plus, when I worked in records before I went to work in the jail, they would come in and give a false name, and then when their fingerprints came back, it would tell us who they really were if they had been fingerprinted before. So I would pull the pictures out on those and compare them too, just to make sure that they were the same person before I just combined everything. Because you just can't trust everything that, you get. I mean, fingerprints are pretty dang accurate, but you never know, I mean, we used to sit and we had this gigantic magnifying glass that was on a stand, and the deputies would sit and stare at the fingerprints, and they would count how many. They'd tell you if it was a swirl or a swirl or a whirl, and then they would count how many lines. That's how they classified their prints. They'd sit and stare at them and count and write down what kind of swirl or whirl pattern. You never knew that you needed to know this information about fingerprints, but now you know. Yeah. And you know what's the worst part about fingerprints? Is when you're 5 foot tall, a 5 foot tall woman. I mean, I guess it's pretty bad if you're a 5 foot tall man too, but a 5 foot tall woman and you're having to fingerprint. Can I say those words? I mean, they don't pay me much anyway, so does it really matter? I don't know. Anyway, they were predators, and I had one of them tell me he sure did like my tiny hands. I wanted to break his finger. I was like, you're disgusting. You're disgusting, sir. I might have twisted his a little too hard on that glass. Yeah, like, don't talk about my small hands. Gross. Gross. Anyway, I hated that job. I hated fingerprinting. I would try to get out of it every chance I could. Mostly because I just didn't like... I mean, when you're short and you're trying to fingerprint, you're kind of up in their armpit anyway. That's no fun. Especially if they don't know proper hygiene, Ugh. But I wouldn't look at their ears. I was just looking at their fingers. This is going off the rails. Oh, I used to have fun in warrants, though. I had a good time. That was probably my favorite place to work out of all the places I worked. Records and the jail, and warrants and admin and warrants again, and then back out to the jail. Spent some time in fugitive, but that wasn't my favorite. I mean, none of those were my favorite except the warrant division. Yeah, it was fun. Or at least for me it was. And dispatch, because I got to work dispatch. Have them crazy people calling. Had this lady call one time. She said, "Can you send a deputy out here to talk with my son?" I said, "Why do you need a deputy to come out and talk with your son?" And she said, "Well, he won't clean his room." I said, "Okay, how old is he?" 10. I tried not to laugh out loud at her on the phone, but I was like, I can guarantee you one thing. Shirley never, ever had to call the police, and that included my dad, who was the police, to get us to do anything. No, that one eyebrow shot up, and I was like, whoo, she means business. I better get to stepping. You better get to stepping, girl, because you about to get toe up from the flow up. Yeah. But she didn't have to call the police. The only time she called the police is when I lost my passy. That's a true story. She called my dad and she said, "This child has lost her passy and she will not stop screaming. please get somebody out here right now with a passy. And he said, well, Shirley, I'm all the way down in the south end of Cobb County, which is a good ride away, you know, it's down there around Six Flags. And she said, I don't care who you send, but they need to bring me a pacifier. And she said it wasn't long after that a police officer came pulling up with a pacifier from the drugstore. She said, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a nightmare without my passy. I think I was 14. I'm just kidding. I was a baby. She didn't let them passies stay that long. Actually, I think I was the only one that had a passy. My brother sucked his thumb till he was 14. Not really. He was about 6 though. Yeah, he had a little buck teeth going, and she was like, you have got to stop. And I don't know what else she did to get him to stop, but he stopped, and now he don't have buck teeth. That was his baby teeth. I guess the straight teeth. I mean, his adult teeth grew back in straight. But speaking of teeth, she's fine. As you can clearly see, she's not distressed. And I think the hair on her bum has grown out enough that it's not bothering her, because she's no longer running and sitting down. It usually only takes a day or two, and she's fine. But several people suggested putting a cream or something on her butt. I'm sorry, but she can't get on my couch with Vaseline on her bottom. She can't get, and I can't deny her getting on the couch, because, I mean, it's her couch. So, anyway, I think I have enough for a video now. So, I guess that's it for this one. Remember, I love you. Jesus loves you. We hope he's coming back soon, because people be crazy. He came, he died, he was buried. I had to think about it. He rose, and he's coming back. He ascended, and he's coming back. Yeah, that's what all that means. Bunch of symbols. It's a Cy Robertson shirt. I think he came up with all this idea, or at least that's what he said. But you know, Cy makes up stuff. So anyway, I ordered it on Amazon, Amazon. So anyway, I'm bye. I'm not bye. I'm done. I'm not bye. And watch your ears, okay? And your fingerprints. Okay, bye.